Hello everybody. Today I am going to be making cheesy chicken pot pie. I'm actually making two pies. So yeah. First, this pie crust. I use this. It's a lot easier and these come out a whole lot better than the ones I make. And then what you're gonna need is 1.5 cups of milk. This box of chicken broth. You only use about 3/4 of it. It's about, I think it's about 1.5 cups. And then you're gonna need 16 ounces of cheddar cheese. It can be sharp or regular cheddar. I've already pre-cooked a lot of this stuff, and I actually have some stuff on the stove right now. So basically this is just to show you what you need. You need 1 large russet potato, and you need to cut up really small, like this, little bite sizes. And then you're gonna need corn. I use peas. Most people use celery, but to me celery kind of tastes a little bitter, so I substitute. You're gonna need salt, pepper, garlic, oregano, basil, parsley. And then in here I have 1 whole sweet onion, and then I have about 1 cup of chopped up spinach, and then I think I would say about 1 cup and a half of carrots, all chopped up. And here I pre-cooked the chicken. What I used is 3 large chicken breasts, and what I do is I bake it in the oven with, I put like garlic powder, pepper, salt, and some lemon juice. Cook it in the oven for about half an hour or so. Chop it up. That way everything's all ready. First thing you're going to want to do is take the broth and then all your vegetables and put them into here. See, I already just turned it on. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the stuff in. One second. Alright, I just put the potatoes in. You're going to want to bring the broth to a boil before you start putting this stuff in, which is what I did. Alright, now for the rest of the stuff. It's already smelling really good. Okay, so now what you do is, as you can see, I just put the spices in. You put about 2 teaspoons of oregano, 2 teaspoons of basil, and 2 teaspoons of parsley. Then you put, I'd say, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You don't need much salt. And then with the pepper, I just put like maybe about 1.5 tablespoons, because we like lots of pepper. Now what you need to do is let all these vegetables and everything cook in the broth so it gets nice and soft, especially the potatoes, because when you're eating chicken pot pie you don't want to bite into a uncooked potato. The broth should actually just cover, even if some is poking out, all the vegetables that are in here. Alright, so with everything in there, you're going to want to give it about, I'd say 5 minutes, maybe less. You can just keep checking the softness of the potatoes, but make sure it's still, the burner's on high, so it's still bubbling. But keep stirring it, otherwise stuff might stick to the bottom of the pot. Alright, while the vegetables are boiling, I put about a tablespoon of flour in each one of these and spread it around. And then I quickly put in the bottom crust. And it's actually pretty vital that you keep like the unused crust in the fridge, because with all the heat out here, it's going to stick together and then the dough is just going to rip apart and it's going to be a whole mess. I learned that lesson a few times ago. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the milk. It's about 1.5 cups. And then I'm also going to add all the chicken, plus about a tablespoon of minced garlic. Alright, so I actually ended up putting about 1.5 tablespoons of minced garlic in. Alright, and now my assistant is putting in the chicken. Now, if you look in it and you want to add more spices to it, like more pepper or any of the other spices, you can. Everything with seasoning is basically to taste. Alright, I actually think I'm going to add a little bit more pepper in it. After you've let everything cook for a good minute or two, you take your 16 ounces of cheese and just plop it all in there. It's not cheesy chicken pot pie unless there's a whole bunch of cheese. We're going to give this a minute. Just keep stirring it. And then you'll see how nice and cheesy it gets. Once everything is mixed up, you should see that it has like a, I don't know, like an orangey yellow tint. It kind of looks like that Velveeta cheese. You're going to want to turn off the heat and just let it kind of hang out for a little bit. Actually, if you want, you can take it off the burner. All that cheese in there, it's going to help thicken it up. So I would say make sure it's nice and mixed up. Let it sit for a few minutes, maybe between 3 and 5. Let it thicken up, and then you can put it into your pie crust. Alright, while this stuff is thickening up, you're going to want to preheat the oven to 425. Okay, now you can see it's pretty nice and thick. Now behind the scenes, I was actually adding a little bit more because I'm making a little pie for someone else. And what I like to do, actually my boyfriend likes it extra cheesy. So what I do is I put a layer of the stuffing, like I fill it up a little less than halfway or maybe about halfway, then sprinkle cheese on it, and then add more, You don't have to add the extra cheese if you don't want to. I actually didn't even put it at the beginning of the video. It's just, personally, he likes it extra cheesy. But if you do, this is about how much I put in there. A nice little layer. I actually wasn't going to put the extra little layer of cheese, but he came in here and tasted what was in the pot, and he said, hey, it's not cheesy enough. So, actually, I get another bag that's 8 ounces, and I use a quarter of the bag for one layer. Then I layer on some more of the stuffing, and then I put more cheese on that, and then I put the top crust on. These are what they look like after being all nice and filled up. As you can see, the cheese has already started to melt. Now it's time to put the top dough on. Alright, as you can see, one of them kind of got screwed up a little bit when I was rolling it out, but it's all good. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to pat it down around the edges. And yes, my hands are very clean. Alright, and I've already done it to this one. Then what you want to do is you want to take the underlying dough on the bottom and press it together with the upper layer. And sometimes that involves rolling this underneath. Alright, and you're going to do that all the way around with all of your pies, or if you're just making one pie. This is what mine looks like after doing it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take a fork and just press it all around. Alright, once that is done, you have to put holes. I usually use a knife, but this is good enough too. That way it can breathe. And then after that, you put this in the oven at 425 for about 40 to 45 minutes. Just keep checking on it, and then we'll see how she turns out. Alright, so after about 28 or 29 minutes or so, I came out to check on them, and they're actually done. So 425 for maybe, I'd say check on them after 25 minutes. But yep, they're totally done, and they look delicious. Well, anyway, that's it for today. So go ahead and enjoy your cheesy chicken pot pie.